everyone, it's Kristie here from KP Creatives with another video for Two Scrapbook Friends. When I saw Carolyn show this Avery Elle stamp and die set for Easter, I could not resist it. I thought it was so cute. It's called the Bunny Tag. It comes with this great stamp set with the bunny, of course. And then you have the sentiments of to from Open to See Who after you stamp Somebody Loves You and Happy Easter. I just loved it. I thought it was great. It comes with the coordinating die set. And that's what really sold me on this one, because I thought, wouldn't it be fun to make some shaped cards using this bunny die? So that's what I've done today, and I'm going to walk you through how I did it. I'm going to show you the finished card so you get a sense of where we are going. I mean, look at how stinking cute this is. I think it is adorable. It opens up, stands up fine on its own. Just a really cute, fun, I guess, non-traditional type of card, because how many times do we send shaped bunny cards for Easter? So I really thought this was the perfect stamp and die set for this type of card. So how did we get from plain white paper to this cutie little bunny card? So let's get into it. I started out by cutting the bunny out of an A2 card front. So I've been using the Tailored Expressions A2 card panels. So all I did was take one of the card panels. This is one of the landscape style cards. So standard A2 size, it's 5.5 inches across and 4.25 inches tall. And what I did was, when I ran it through my die cut machine, I ran it through exactly like this. So I left a portion of the one ear off so that it wouldn't cut, and that preserves the fold, so we still get the fold in the card, which works out perfectly. And then I cut it out again over on, well, actually I made a couple of these cards, so I double cut it the same way. But then out of heavyweight white cardstock, I cut another just straight of the bunny so that I have the full ear, so that I could adhere this full bunny to the bunny that has the fold. And then you just have that little ear sticking up at the back, which is totally fine. So I did think, when I cut the bunny out of white cardstock, I thought, you know what? I need it to look like it has a bit of texture. And to do that, I grabbed this Pretty Petals stencil that I have from Tailored Expressions. And I ran this through my die cutting machine on the settings for dry embossing. So with your die cutting machine, whether you have a Big Shot or a Gemini Junior, they always come with the right panels, or not panels, the right sandwich material to do dry embossing. So that's what I did. And I thought this looked really cool. I mean, it's not like fur per se, but I thought it just gave the bunny a little bit of texture for our card, and that's what I was looking for. So take a look at your die cutting machine instructions for dry embossing. You get a lot more mileage out of your stencils that way, and it's a really cool way to add some texture and definition to your die cuts or your card panels overall. So I'm going to set this aside. And again, this is the Pretty Petals stencil from Tailored Expressions. Great all-purpose stencil to have in your collection. Works really well with ink blending. And of course, the dry embossing, it works great. So I really have found that to be a good one. So then I had a couple of other die cuts from the stamp and die set that I wanted to cut out. And I'm using the Lawn Fawn Rose Gold paper. I thought it was just enough of that pinky rose color that would go great for the bunny. So I've cut out the ears, the nose, and the tail. I know the tail's not traditionally pink, but hey, we're card makers. We can use our imagination and creativity. And then I've got a couple of gems from Studio Katia that I am using for the eyes. So I have these gems in a little container here. They come in a few different sizes. I really love the gems from Studio Katya. They're great quality, flat back, super easy to work with. They're fantastic. So check those out on the Two Scrapbook Friends website. They have a variety of colors and shapes and really great stuff from Studio Katya. And I believe they are a Canadian company. So let's set these delicate die cuts off to the side while we get started on our stamping. And my goal here, friends, is to make sure I don't lose any of these pieces throughout the filming of this video. So let's put them aside safely and hope we don't lose anything. So let's get going with our stamping. I am going to be using some VersaFine Onyx Black ink for the sentiment, and I got my Lost Shadow, the new color from Tim Holtz. I have the Distress Oxide here, and that's what we're going to use for the outline of our bunny. I thought this was the perfect light gray. I didn't really want to use black for that bunny. I thought it would stand out too stark, and Lost Shadow, perfect. So I was really excited to get this in my package from Two Scrapbook Friends this week so that I could try it out for this card. So let's get rolling. When I am stamping on die cuts, I always like to create a template from the die cut. So I took a piece of scrap paper and I just cut out the bunny in this paper. And you're going to see why this template becomes in super handy when we're stamping in the MISTI. I know sometimes, especially as you're starting out card making or using your MISTI or using coordinating dies, it can be really difficult to line up your die cuts, and it can be frustrating because you're working on your project and you all of a sudden go to do the final stamping and it doesn't work out, or the die cut is off center a little bit or things like that. So using a template really helps. So I'm going to show you how I like to stamp with die cuts. So I'm going to pop this stamp down in the MISTI. I'm making sure my paper pad is snug right in the corner, popping the bunny down. It does not matter which way I put the bunny. I can put it anywhere in the MISTI, and let's just leave it there and close the door of the MISTI, pick up the bunny, and now we're going to ink it up with the Lost Shadow ink. Now, I can imagine if you've never done stamping with die cuts this way, you might be going, oh my gosh, like she should be putting this down in the corner of the MISTI because we want to make sure we're stamping it in the same place every time. And you will see that because we have a template, it doesn't matter, which is great. So I'm going to grab my smusher tool here so we get a nice impression of the bunny. Now, the Lost Shadow ink is very light, so I'm going to hold this up here so hopefully you can see that on the MISTI grid paper. Now, here is the beauty of the template. We're going to bring the template in, and I am going to position it around that stamped image so I can have an even margin all the way around. And then what we will do is pop our bunny die cut in, and we are going to get a great stamped image exactly where we want it. So that looks great. I'm going to pop the 2 magnets down. I like to use the 2 bar magnets. Then we're going to take our bunny, and it already has that dry embossing on it, but because the texture isn't too high or doesn't provide a ton of dimension on the card, it's more texture, I think it will stamp on here just fine. So I'm going to pop the bunny in just like a puzzle piece. I'm not putting any temporary adhesive or anything on the bunny. I don't think I need it in this case, but you could do that if you wanted to. So again, we've got our bunny popped down. I'm going to re-ink the bunny in the MISTI with this Lost Shadow ink. Get that nice and juicy. We're going to close the door of the MISTI, bring in our smusher tool so we get a great impression. Lift that up, and that looks fantastic. So we've got the outline of our bunny, and bunny looks great. Okay, I'm going to keep the Lost Shadow out. Take the bunny out of the MISTI for now. And I will warn you, be careful when you're pulling this off the MISTI because This part is left open, so you could actually stamp the sentiment at the same time. I'm going to do it separately, but this is delicate, so just be careful when you're pulling that off your Misty. You don't want to rip it. Now from the stamp set, I'm going to grab the whiskers and the Somebody Loves You sentiment. So I'm going to get the whiskers just right, so we're not make sure we're not covering the eye or the nose. And then we're going to put in the Somebody Loves You sentiment. Get that straight here on our bunny. And I'm going to close the door of the Misty again. I'm not going to put in the bunny yet. I do want to test this out. Make sure the sentiment is going to be where I want it. Make sure the whiskers aren't covering anything else up. Bring in the smusher tool. And let's see how we did. I think that looks great. So now we're going to pop our bunny puzzle piece back in. I am going to wipe off the sentiment because I'm going to stamp that in VersaFine Onyx Black, not the Lost Shadow. But I am going to go back to the whiskers with Lost Shadow, so we'll get those inked up. And then let me grab my VersaFine Onyx Black for the sentiment. That looks good. Make sure the bunny hasn't shifted on us. Looks great. Close the door of the Misty. Bring in the smusher tool. And there we go. I'm actually going to stamp one more time in the Versamark. There's a little bit of dimension on some of those petals from our dry embossing. So I'm just going to stamp that one more time. And again, our template didn't move. Our stamp didn't move. So we can close the door of the Misty with confidence there to know that we're going to be stamping in the same spot. And that is really cute. So there you go. You can see how having that template is so helpful. It is the best way I have found to stamp with coordinating dies. There are also other ways you can do it, but I really find that that has been a pretty foolproof in my crafty workflow to be able to stamp and get great results on the die cuts. So let's get a couple things out of the way here. We're going to get our stamps put back here so we don't have the little ones going missing. And we have the bunny. What a great stamp set from Avriel. I really thought this was absolutely adorable when I saw that it had come into the store. Okay, so we are finished with our stamping. I'm going to put the Misty off to the side. And let's get to putting this card together. The first thing I'm going to do is actually glue the bunny onto our card bunny. So let's get some liquid adhesive. I'm using the Lawn Fawn liquid glue in one of the precision tip bottles from, you can get these bottles through Two Scrapbook Friends. They're under the brand for Gina K Designs or Lavinia Stamps. And one quick thing, it would probably be better if you put the adhesive on the card because as you can see, I'm going to have a little too much adhesive on the ear that's not attached to anything. So just give me a moment to grab a baby wipe here. One of our best tools in crafting, and I'm just going to wipe off the excess glue there. All right, we're gonna get this bunny adhered to the bunny card. And that looks great. They lined up fantastic. Just gonna give that a nice press. Great. And now I'm going to bring in my little die cut pieces. Now I have 2 sets here. I actually have 1 more of these to make. So I'll do that afterwards, but I'm going to put some adhesive down for the nose, the eye, the ears, and the tail. And now I'm going to use my jewel picker tool from Maker Forte. This is a great tool to have in your collection. I think Gina K has one as well, where you have the wax tip end and the pokey end. Really fantastic and works great for working with little die cuts like this. So I'm going to grab the tail and put that down. And because we've got that great lost shadow ink, we can see the outlines of exactly where we need to put our die cuts. So we've got our nose there. Just want to move that a little bit. There we go. We're going to use those Studia Katya gems for the eye. This Lawn Fawn liquid glue, if it's new to you, it dries clear, which is really great. So even if a little bit of the glue sticks out a little bit, it will dry clear and you will not see it. Okay, so that looks great. So there you go. Cute little bunny shaped card for Easter greetings. Stands up great because it has that nice flat base that's going to support the card. You could stamp the Happy Easter sentiment in the inside, or I mean, there's not a ton of room here, but you could do that, and then you address your recipients and then who it's from. So I just think this is the most adorable little bunny card. Hopefully this inspires you to make some Easter cards, again, using this fantastic bunny tag stamp and die set from Avery Elle. What a great creative way to create some Easter crafts for all the bunnies you love in your life. So I hope you are all doing well. Please take a moment and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You'll be notified when we post new videos. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.